It is Friday, September 6th. I'm Geoff Schwartz alongside Matt Ford. This is Geoff Schwartz of Smarring You. We are back for the football season on Fridays, Matthew. We have just like Jamar Chase and Ayuk and Trent Williams, we've held out long enough, but we have our deals in place. Not really, but we're glad to be here with you guys for the National Football League season, as we're going to do every Friday, like we did last season. We're going to recap Thursday Night Football, talk about Chiefs Ravens in a second, and we're going to pick our 5 favorite wagers of the National Football League weekend. This weekend, oddly, we have a Thursday and a Friday game. We have games on Sunday and on Monday. Matt, buddy, how are you doing? I'm excited for this show as usual.
Coming off a 55% year. So if you listen to the show, you're gonna have a profitable football season. What's there not to like about that, right, Geoff?
We've done this show now for I think 6 football seasons, and we've gotten to the point where we could guess each other's wagers. We're going to keep you guys guessing about what we're going to pick throughout the show. Again, we'll go through all the games that we still have to play, but let's talk about the game from last night, Chiefs and Ravens. Chiefs win 27-20 by just an inch, as the lively out of bounds there at the very end. 2 takeaways, Matt, quickly. One, the Chiefs are better, which is scary for the NFL. They've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years, and they're better now. The ability offensively to do more with the healthy group of wide receivers, and Brown's not even there right now. We can tell how confident they looked this game, just from a vibes feeling, but also just they play well against zone coverage, against man coverage. They blocked really well with a rookie left tackle. He struggled a little bit, but it looked fine. 27 points with a couple mistakes, a bad turnover, some drop passes, man. Mahomes was 20-28. He looked really good. But the more important thing I want to talk about, Matt, with you is Lamar Jackson. He was fabulous for most of the night. But the difference in this game was Mahomes made those extra plays and Lamar did not. I'm not even talking about missing Zay Flowers at the end there. He even said he wasn't even throwing to Zay Flowers. He was throwing to Bateman. But there were other throws in this game where just the wide receiver was open, man. He just missed him. And Lamar's a dynamic player. 2 MVPs, future Hall of Famer. But the difference in this game, to me, and the difference that we'll see throughout maybe their careers, is Mahomes makes those special throws on the move, on the run, in the pocket, and Lamar just missed on a couple of those in this game, and that was the difference.
It was, and there's a lot of takes about Lamar today. I gotta say, like the Ravens coaching staff did not totally seem like they were ready for this. Like, obviously Lamar doesn't play all preseason, neither did Henry. I felt like I knew if the Ravens were running or passing every single play. Like, if it was a I formation, it was going to Henry, and they stopped running the ball after the first half. And then, Lamar, when he started getting out of the pocket, good things started to happen. And so, like, you got to give him credit for keeping them in a game. By the third quarter, it felt like it wasn't even a game. Like, it didn't even feel like the Ravens belonged on the same field as the Chiefs. And then they came back. But I have a list of winners and losers from last night, Geoff, that I wanted to go through with you. All right. So first winner, I'm going to say the Thursday Night Football opener. I don't really remember when they started this, but it's really starting to feel like a thing. The game is always marquee. It rarely, if ever, disappoints, in my memory at least. I felt like that's really a good way to kick off the season. It's something I look forward to every year. We'll see about the Friday thing. Let's go with another winner, Kevin Durant. Now not the only guy with the toe on the line. Like, that's good for him, good for his brand. Chiefs special teams unit, headlined by Harrison Butker and Matt Araiza. Not a talking point today. That's good. That's good for everybody. Ravens offensive line names. We've got Linderbaum and Rosengarten next to each other. That just made me happy. They were a good winner. Some losers, Geoff. Okay. Everyone who said the kickoff rules were going to change our lives. Like, nothing was different. Nothing happened with these kickoff rules that everyone's been spending a whole offseason being like, just wait. Nothing changed. If anything, I was angry that so much air has been spewed about these stupid rules.
The Chiefs just kicked the ball at the end zone every single time and took the 5-yard difference. Just like they have to make that ball. They think they put the ball 40 to get teams not to do. Like, they'll be 35. Like, we're not risking this at all.
Maybe the loser in general is rule changes. Like, what was going on with all these illegal formation penalties? Like, I could not believe what I was watching. There was like 3 plays in a row to start the game for Baltimore.
So Ronnie Stanley is very upright in his stance, and the rule is your head has to sort of break the center's waistline, even though they really just say your center has to break his butt at all. And he's very upright in his stance. So it looks like at times he's not aligned correctly. And I get the rule, but like, after one time, especially with a veteran like that, like, enough. Like, we get it. You want to call it harsh. and then like let's not do it again. I just thought it was overkill. Four or five of them. Like it was aggressive. Like let them play. Okay. A few happen. That's fine. Call them. But after that, just let the veterans play. We're not here to watch the officials throw flags.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff about like, oh, the refs are in bed with the Chiefs. Like, I'm over it. But it did seem a little bit strange that that was happening. And so I'm going to actually say a loser in this is the Chiefs. They've used up a lot of their karma in the first week of the season, and it's starting to get that
Uh,
like early, like 2017 Warriors vibe where people are like, come on, like I'm done with these guys. Like it's starting to that last night was the first time where I felt like sports Twitter was like, all right, like we're doing this again. I feel like they're kind of teetering, Geoff. So I'm going to call them a loser for that. And my last loser is irony. There was a commercial that had football players as gladiators. Like, I'm sorry, like, what are we doing? Like 5 years ago, that wouldn't have even been like allowed in a pitch meeting, and now we're just like totally going for it.
um, I the Chiefs is villains thing. Villains that to me are good for sports, Matt. Like the Chiefs, and they embrace this obviously. Like having everyone root against them, I think is good for sports. Um, Obviously, you don't win three Super Bowls in the last 5 years, without some breaks. I don't think it's the officials. Every time they play a game, they'll see like Mahomes got hit late that one time. They didn't call it. I mean, that just is. Sometimes they don't call everything they see. It's just the way it is. The officials did not impact that game at all, in my opinion. The Chiefs continue to win a lot of games. They're going to be good. They're going to, it's crazy to me that we're going to get to December, Matt, and we're going to talk about home field advantage, and we're going to talk about a toe being out of bounds as the reason why one team has home field and one team does not, because the tiebreaker now goes to the Chiefs. The Ravens have to be 2 games clear of them. Well, 1 game clear, obviously, but it takes 2 extra games now, right? They're already 1 game back, so it's a lot of work for Baltimore to, I think, to even get back to to even, and then obviously move ahead of them. All right, Matt. Because we are limited on time, we'll still get through all the games though. Let's
Of
start
course.
getting into our wagers for the week again, guys. We're gonna choose 5. These have been out for a long time, since May. Matt, I know who we're taking. I don't think there's gonna be much like wishy-washy in what we're doing here. But we're gonna go through them anyways. We'll give you our 5. Or 6 or 7 or 8. We'll pare it down to 5 by the end of this show. We'll put them in the super contest. And let's knock it. Okay, Matt. We're using lines that are available now on Friday, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's start with the Friday night game in Brazil.
To be clear, we know what we're wagering because we've done this for so long. We have not discussed this. I know
No.
you appear on other podcasts. I do not listen to them. I refuse to acknowledge them because this is your podcast, not the other ones with the professional bettors and guys who actually know stuff about football. I choose to focus on this one exclusively. So
Okay.
let's start our efforts with the Brazil game tonight. Latest line is 2.5, I think, for Philly. 2.5. I would say Green Bay is probably my side, but like I think you kind of have to be a psycho to bet on this game, no?
Oh, 100% agree on the psycho part of it. I have nothing on this game. It is just a spot where the Eagles have new coordinators, and without Jason Kelsey, that offense can be different, Matt. I gotta see it first, right? And Green Bay's gonna always praise this offseason. They played well at the end of last season, but again, there's a difference. We'll get to another game where I really like this part of the handicap, where like when you enter a season with the expectations, how do you play in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4? Because a lot of times you come into a season like the Packers did last year without expectations and no one talking about you. You won a playoff game last season and you play competitive in the next round. How do you handle an entire audience, everyone telling you you're good and you thinking you're good? So to me, stay away game in Brazil too. I don't like betting standalone games. I'm with you here. I lean Packers and under probably. I think Eagles run the ball a lot if you want to go. And I know this, hopefully you hear this on Friday. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley over rushing props would I think would be good, a good play here in this game. But I don't have a side or total that I feel strongly about.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's see with all these Eagles coordinator changes how that starts out. Both teams start really strong every year, so hard to pick a side there. Also, just weird Brazil stuff. So that's a pass for the Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You podcast. I have a feeling this one will not be, Geoff. The Pittsburgh Steelers on the road in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins coming off of an Achilles tear. Still favored by 3.5 against TJ Watt and Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Oh boy, are we doing this again?
So what Hank and Nick, I think, right? They make a list before the show what they think our wagers are going to be. And number one was Steelers. And they know us all too well because we are absolutely taking the Steelers. There's a 3.5 right now out there floating around at DraftKings, for example. And we'll take Pittsburgh plus the 3.5 here. Okay, look, you listen to me this offseason. I'm on every Steelers under you could ever have. Wins, points, division wins. Russell Wilson's props are not up. Matt, I would take the unders in those. But this is a Mike Tomlin special.
Sure
Mike
is.
Tomlin is an underdog, performs better than any coach in the National Football League. This is where you bet the Steelers. When they are ugly dogs, no way they can win the game, no way they're going to be close. Russell Wilson's not very good. He's hurt. New offensive lineman. But what are the Falcons, Matt? They have a 36-year-old off an Achilles tear who's never played with anyone on this team. He's not played yet. He hasn't played a preseason game at all, ever with this team. The addition of Judon Simmons are great on defense, but still question marks on defense. Give me Steelers here plus 3.5. No brainer to me.
I think the half point's what does it for me. Mike Tomlin, as you know, it's a stat we bring up all the time, is profitable straight up as an underdog in his tenure with the Steelers. He's the best coach in NFL history against the spread as an underdog. You got to take him in these spots. Look, Pittsburgh is always kind of wonky at the beginning of the year. We loved them last year against San Francisco. They fell flat on their faces the year before. I think it was that wacky Cleveland year where it was, I forget if they won, but they definitely covered.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh
the
is
five
just
turnovers they forced.
Yeah. And I do think that these first year, Raheem Morris has been a coach before, but it's a first year coordinator. Like there's a lot going on both sides of the ball for Atlanta. Like, I don't think that this means quite as much to them. They also have an easy schedule all year where Pittsburgh, like they go in these massive chunks of just brutal team after brutal team. They're a better team with TJ Watt on the field. It's ridiculous. Their splits. I think you just got to take Pittsburgh here unless, 5 other bets jump out to you, but you're pick and pull no matter what. You got to take Pittsburgh with,
Yeah,
especially with,
we're on Pittsburgh here. Sorry. Very, very sneaky side, but that's where I'm
not
at. All right.
really.
What's next?
Who knows who the quarterback is, but between
doesn't
Russ
matter
and
to me.
Fields, it doesn't really matter. All right, next one, we've got a Florida battle. The Jags are headed south to the Dolphins. 3.5, depending where you look now. The wild card in this one is the weather, right? There's going to be a massive rainstorm, I think, in Miami, which is concerning. I'm going to check that while you start to explain what you think on this game.
It's Jacksonville or nothing for me in this game, right? The Dolphins play well against and cover against the really bad teams. I don't think Jacksonville's really bad, Matt, right? I think that they're going to bounce back from last season. They just, excuse me, catch the ball a little bit more. They're a different team, right? I'm so emotional about this. I don't have a hard take on this other than I think it's Jacksonville or pass. I'm not laying 3.5 with Miami in this game.
I actually think Jacksonville's kind of an interesting play here. Basically, so it looks like actually that as of now, Friday morning Pacific, that the weather on Sunday is pretty clear. High humidity, but actually sunny. We know that Trevor Lawrence does not do well in rain, that he's a fumble machine. But I actually think that this is a pretty good spot for them. Miami, I don't really know what people think Miami is, but this would have been probably like one of their best wins last year if they were to beat a team like Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
And, Miami has a decent amount of change, right? On the defensive side, they're still figuring out their injuries. Both Waddle and Hill are injured. So I think that this is probably a pretty close game. So I'm cool with Jacksonville plus 3.5, at least as one of our contenders. But I'm not going to stand on the table for this one, but I do think it's a pretty good play.
Yeah, I think it would be Jacksonville or bust. I'm trying to look at all the money's on Miami too, which is not always the reason to bet on a team, by the way. But in this situation, again, if you like a side, it's good to see sort of where the money's at. There's some threes popping up too. So I think 3.5 is where we play this with Jacksonville, but not strong conviction. So I'm kind of curious where we find some other plays to be had.
Okay. Well, it's in the maybe list. Okay. Next game, as I potentially push my next meeting a bit and maybe buy us a little extra time to talk about 2 of your former teams, the Vikings, and you played for the Vikings, right? The Vikings and the Giants. The Giants are home dogs to Sam Darnold. They are getting 1.5 at home.
No.
Geoff, I'm sorry. We're doing it. We're doing this.
Well, Bill Krakenberger, who I do radio with, is a very sharp individual. who moves numbers. He has Vikings money line, and I try not to be against Bill Krakenberger as much as possible. Um, the Giants are really bad, Matt. Like, and they're wearing those atrocious uniforms this weekend. The helmets are nice though, I'll tell you that. The throwback Michigan helmets basically look like Michigan helmets. Is this just you just taking this because it's a home dog essentially? Like the Giants just are. I think it'll be really really bad. But Darnold on the
I'm
road, ugh.
Darnold is the least profitable quarterback since he got into the league. He is a road favorite on a team that, like, I'm sorry, like, where exactly is Minnesota better than the Giants? Like,
Well,
running back?
offensive line, wide receiver,
Okay,
defense.
maybe, but like, okay, Darisaw Thomas, like, okay, sure, their offensive line might be a bit better, but I just think the Giants' hate has gone a bit too far. I mean, this was a team that was competitive with Tommy DeVito last year. Like, I just think
Yeah.
Brian Dable, everyone just kind of just like lost it on this Giants team, and it's like, wait a second, are we just say that Brian Dable just cannot coach? Like, I'm not totally there yet. I just feel like the Giants are this team that the public has just no interest in betting on. And there's this love for Kevin O'Connell, who I also think is a good coach. But I'm sorry, like what about New York is like so much worse that they should be 4.5 points different than the Vikings are. Like, I just think that this is a ridiculous line for Darnold on the road as a favorite. Like, I think this is just you have to situationally just play this. Like, also, we should note, I wish I had the stat in front of me, but these small home dogs in week one absolutely crush it. They win, I think, 67, 70% of the time in this exact spot. So this is just one that, like, you can't really look at the two teams, and there's always a wacky team that wins in week one. And it's, by the way, like, could Minnesota just completely just bust this year? Like, they're kind of this weird team with terrible quarterback. They're old in some spots, they're young in some spots. Like, sure, they have Justin Jefferson, great. Like, Giants have Malik Neighbors. Like, they both are kind of the same
Yeah.
team. So I feel like I'm crazy being out there for the Giants on this one, but I think they're the better team and they're home dogs. Like, I'm just confused about this one.
I think you're on an island for taking the Giants here. I put in the maybes. You mentioned upsets in week one, the wonky result. I mean, there's a game I certainly feel like it's going to be wonkier than this result. I mean, look, they're only a 1 point dog at home. This open, by the way, Giants favored by one. Now
Correct.
Minnesota with ones and a half all over the board. So it hasn't moved. There's a couple twos popping up now. So maybe the sharp money is on the Vikings here. We'll put the Giants in a maybe. How about that, Matt?
I think this is the one that if I'm like, all right, I have to make this case. Dable 22, 13, and 1 against the spread with the Giants 63%. So I don't know. I think this is a little bit of a value, but I get that no one's going to want to do it. All right. Speaking of lines that have moved, the Bears are now favored by 3.5 over the Titans. This sat at 4.5 for I feel like the entire summer. And now here we are, and the Sharps have come in and pounded the Titans.
I know.
I'm not totally surprised by that. We've all seen the stats about number one
Yeah.
quarterbacks in their first start.
Oh,
It's a
14 and
big
1
number. Oh,
against the
14
spread.
and 1, correct. So what do you think? I mean, I think we missed the Titans number, but I would still hear a case for it.
I mean, above 3, I think it's playable, right, Matt? I think
Yeah,
4 obviously would be better, especially with a the way extra point system works out now, where more extra points are missed. Here's the deal about why the rookie quarterback struggle in week one, and Caleb Williams certainly is in a different situation than most, right? Because of the Bears roster around him, right? Most teams suck to be number one. They trade into being number one, correct? Um, is that it's when I was a young player, Matt, my offensive line coach told me that there is different speeds to the season. There's a preseason speed, and there's a speed that goes from preseason to week one, and then there's like a middle of season speed, and then sort of a playoff push, and then each playoff round gets faster. There's a noticeable jump in the way the game is played from the preseason to the regular season. Caleb Williams has not experienced that yet, right, Matt? So even though we might not believe in everything that the Titans are as a team, there's going to be just a faster game played in front of him on Sunday. That's why rookies don't play well in that first game. It's just a lot different than he's ever seen in his entire life. And the Titans are preparing this for months now. I'm okay taking the 3.5 because I think it's still above. It's not the best of the number. We can only do what we can on Fridays, but to me, Tennessee plus 3.5 is every square, every Joe is taking the Bears this weekend, and you know that.
yep. I mean, so to be honest, like, to take a bigger picture look at Tennessee, like, they're kind of a frisky team, and I just feel like everyone is out on them. They're not a fun group. They're an older team with all these guys like Tony Pollard and DeAndre Hopkins who you've had in fantasy forever and probably burned you once or twice. But like they signed L'Jarius Sneed in the offseason.
Yeah.
They have Bill Callahan coaching their offensive line, obviously, with his son as the head coach. Like they don't profile to me as like this bad team. Like they think they have a shot to win some games this year. I have a feeling they're going to come out and people are going to be like, "Huh, I didn't know they were this good." Like they added the Northwestern kid right in the draft on the offensive line. Like I do feel like they're going to
Yeah,
have
Schwartz, yeah.
a bit more firepower than people think. So
Agreed.
I
I
like
agree.
their win total over this year. They're pretty low, so I would be interested in Tennessee as a spot here, even though we missed the number.
I'm fine with 3.5 as a firm to hard maybe.
Okay, firm to hard maybe. I like that. We're not even through the 1 o'clock games yet, and we've already
I
got
know.
4 on our list. And I can just guarantee you that we're taking the next one, and that is your hometown Carolina Panthers, the worst team in the league. They are getting 4 points in New Orleans, and I'm happy to say, Geoff, that every single bettor I respect and follow seems to be on the same side of this, which is the ugly Carolina Panthers side. Why don't
It's
you
my
make your case?
best bet on the Bear Bets podcast, my other podcast. I love the Panthers in this spot. First of all, the Saints are not good. Okay. They're not a good
Nope.
football team. Their offensive line struggling right now. They've had to, instead of just slowly ripping the band-aid, like just like ripping it and just doing the reset, Matt, right? They're ripping it very slowly. Every couple of months or years, they have to cut two more players, and trade a player away. So they're just ripping the band-aid off. They're not doing that, right? And the Panthers, to me, are just a sneaky team this year because they've upgraded everywhere. Okay. They upgraded for agency, they upgraded coaching staff, they upgraded front office. Dave Canales can coach. We know that. He's going to get Bryce Young in a good spot in this game. Everyone's counting them out. Everyone thinks they can't win this game. And if you want to do the Derek Carr numbers, go ahead. But Derek Carr as a favorite is freaking atrocious. Do not put your money on Derek Carr as a favorite. Since he entered the league, he is ranked 165 out of 166 against the spread as a favorite. Hear that again. 165 out of 166. He's terrible in this spot. So at 317-1 his last 18 games as a favorite against the spread. Give me Carolina +4 here in Sharpie. Done. It's one of our plays.
Yep. Dennis Allen, 24-46 straight up as head coach, worst among all active head coaches. He's in the Hugh Jackson territory when you talk about the head coaching record. The Saints, I'm so like some people, there are people out there who are smart who think that the Saints could overperform this year. I'm not one of them. I think Carolina, they're not a good team, but I think they're going to be way better. They had an atrocious year last year. Everything that went wrong could have. Let's see it. So I'm happy to get the 4 here. We can save time talking about the saddest game of probably the weekend, but the Panthers did not lead in the fourth quarter last year, right? So let's see if they can start with a straight up win in week 1. That's what side we're on. What could go wrong? Okay, speaking of upsets, this is a trendy one that some people like, which is Arizona going to Buffalo. The Bills are laying 6.5. Excuse me. The Cardinals, a very trendy dog this season. Everyone seems to like them. Big spread for Josh Allen, which is usually the spot where you actually want to take him and not fade him. What do you think?
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. The Bills typically blow teams out or lose. Like there's no in between. They don't win close games. I actually like the Bills team total over 27.5. The Arizona Cardinals defense is atrocious, Matt. I don't have a side in this game. I have the Buffalo Bills team total over. I would lean toward Buffalo here, Matt, but we're not putting in one of our plays. I think this is sort of just a game you just watch in your eighth screen and just see what happens on Sunday.
Feel fine with that. I'm curious to see Marvin Harrison and this offense come together, but yeah, I don't know. I think I don't really have a side on this one, so we can just save the time.
Yeah.
This one is interesting because this line has moved a lot. Everyone's survivor pick this week is the Bengals. This line was at 9.5 forever, and it's moved down to 7.5. Some reports today that T. Higgins might not play. Jamar Chase, we don't really know what's going on. Joe Burrow's had this weird wrist injury that I do not think people are talking enough about this whole offseason. This game stinks to high heaven to me, and you're certainly not taking the Patriots when you could have gotten them 2 points higher, a day ago. but I don't think you can take the Bengals either, right? So
No,
I
you
mean,
can't.
what's your take on this game?
It's a stay away. Here's why it's a stay away. You mentioned the Patriots. Like, you're not taking the Patriots now. I'm not even sure at 9 it was great either. I know we texted about this weeks ago, Matt. Like, you were maybe looked at the Patriots at +9. They're just so inept offensively. I got to sort of see it first. I can make a case for the Panthers. I mentioned like being better on offense. The case for there's no case for the Patriots. There's
No.
just no case for that. Um, so I I can't do it. Now the Bengals, there's to me, there's a little bit of thought process of look, it's a very college football thing, but like we can win this game without Jamar Chase and Higgins. We need them to be healthy to play Kansas City in 2 weeks. And I wonder if there's a thought process behind
Yeah.
that. Like, let's just get through this week with whatever we need. Now, that's not an NFL thing to do, Matt, because if you do that in the NFL, you lose a lot. It's more of a college football thing, right? You hold someone out and they're ready to go next week. But the Bengals could certainly be thinking that. Like, we don't need these guys this weekend. T. Higgins now, by the way, I think is doubtful for this game, which means he's probably not playing. Um, I, again, I have no plan on this one, but I can see the Bengals just saying like, we're packing this in. We're going to win by 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. Like, just try to get out of this weekend. You're ready to play the Chiefs.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think you're right. I think the Bengals tend to hold some bullets in the first couple weeks of the season anyway. So yeah, I think they probably win. They're probably still my survivor pick, which feels super clunky and scary, but this is a tough week to predict. So no Panthers for me in survivor, although it sounds like that was one of your
Yeah,
leads.
well,
You're
it's one
just
of
a
mine. Oh
reckless
yeah,
fan.
we're going big with Panthers week one.
I love that so much. All right, AFC South battle. Everyone's America's team now. The Texans are road favorites in Indy, 2.5 or 3
Yeah,
even. If you are interested in the Colts, I would potentially be interested in the Colts. But what do you think?
I think we have to play the Colts. I think
I think so too.
there's no question, Matt. We put the
Yeah.
Colts here. Um, remember last year when the Colts almost beat the Texans to win the division last season with the team
Yes.
they had, and now they're at home in week one with a whole year to prepare for this game again. And we're gonna get a good number. We're gonna get 3 right now because it ain't gonna be 3 on Sunday. Like it's not. We're going the other direction. Um, the thing with the Texans, I think they're really good. I think you think they're really good. But now they enter this season, Matt, as a team that everyone thinks is really good. It's a different vibe.
Yep.
You're not sneaking up on anybody. So divisional home dogs in week one are a great wager,
Yep.
getting points. So I think Colts +3 is absolutely a play we put in, especially because we have it right now at +3.
Yep. I also think, there's a couple things to consider. I mean, there's this trend that the Colts are 2-13-1 straight up since 2008 in week one. So a lot of people are like, you can't take the Colts. And I'm usually one of those guys, but quite frankly, like totally different eras. Like what happened with Andrew Luck and I don't know who, like Jim Caldwell and Frank Reich and whoever else, like that doesn't matter to, today's team. Um, by the way, Stroud, 3-5 against the spread is a favorite last year. 6-3 against the spread is a dog. And if you even think about that psychologically, like people like betting on fun dogs like CJ Stroud and the Texans were last year. The Texans also, like, if you think about just the course of their season, they had this late surge after Trevor Lawrence got injured, Jacksonville fell apart. They're very good. They're a Super Bowl contender for sure. I think they're still a little bit overrated, and this could be the week where it's like, they're facing this weird Colts offense with Anthony Richardson that we haven't really seen since he was just starting in the NFL last year. You got this coach in Shane Steichen everyone really likes. You mentioned the situational spot of home divisional dogs in week one. It's like the most. It's one of those like auto things you have to bet on every
Yep.
single year. So I'm not rooting for the Colts, but I do think it's the smart play, and it should make our list.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm in.
And we get 3. I mean, this is just getting pushed and pushed in the right direction. By the time we finish the pod, it could be 3.5. I'm actually going to refresh and just make sure that it's not, but we'll take it at 3. We're in the late window now, and we've got Denver at Seattle, 2 teams that have
Yeah.
freed themselves of Russell Wilson. We've got 6 actually for the Seahawks,
Yeah.
5.5 maybe. What do
I
you
have
think?
nothing. I have nothing on this game, Matt. I don't know if you do. People like the Seahawks a lot this year. We don't know what their head coach is going to be. I don't really understand that. Like we're giving Mike McDonald this sort of status as like kingmaker in Seattle. A lot of people are in Seattle, Matt. I don't get it. I'm certainly not on Bo Nick's first road start as a rookie,
Right in
getting 6
Seattle,
points.
yeah,
Like I think it's just a stay away game. Like I want to watch and see Seattle with a new coach. I want to see Bo Nix making his first road start in the NFL in a loud environment in Seattle. I mean, look, if I had to give a wager, I'd probably take the Broncos, but I don't feel great about it, so we'll leave it out.
Cosign, I couldn't agree more on every single thing you just said, including that I'm a little bit out on the Seahawks. Everyone thinking that just changing from Pete Carroll to this, whiz kid from Baltimore, like it's pretty rare that a hot shot, like I don't know, these defensive coordinators
Correct.
can come in and like turn things around. Like Robert Sala is a good example, but also like moving on from Pete Carroll does not necessarily mean that it's an upgrade. Like, are we sure that Geno Smith is going to be good without a Hall
Correct.
of Fame head coach there? Like, are we sure about that?
I'm with
So
you.
I have a
Agreed.
fade in Seattle in the season. By the way, that's one of those things I would have said if we had chosen the offseason a bit more. But I do think that Denver is a little too risky here.
Agree.
All right, a home game for the Las Vegas Raiders here in Los Angeles. They play the Chargers. The Chargers are laying 3. This line hasn't budged. I I've stared at this a long time, and I'm getting more and more intrigued by the Chargers. But what do you think?
So I feel like one game an episode we just do not talk about, and this is going to be the one.
Okay, fair enough.
I have just no idea, buddy. I got no handicap in this game. Chargers, brand new coach. I know everyone's high on Jim Harbaugh's turnarounds in year one. He certainly has done that. But Justin Herbert, training camp, came out. He's healthy now, but had a foot injury. Who's explosive wide receiver? It's just a lot of questions at San Diego, Los Angeles, whatever. And the Raiders, I think, just stink. So like I know a sharp group took the Chargers -3. They have taken that. Um, but I'm not. I can't put Chargers. We got too many other like good wagers in here to put the Chargers -3 in Jim Harbaugh's first game against the Raiders.
Yeah, they might be a survivor play for me with all these weird question marks out there because I don't see them losing this game. I see them, I don't think that Pierce's staff is going to out scheme Harbaugh's. I
No,
think that
no
the
way.
the Chargers are going to have a very interesting feel to them. Like they have this big physical feel. Um, so I like the Chargers. I think, straight up, I would be happy
Yeah,
to take them, but just feels a little bit strange. We could look back on this and say, why didn't we do that? But for now, no thanks. The rest of the games are fun. Cleveland's is hosting Dallas.
yeah.
Cleveland's up to 2.5 points, and I have a feeling that if you're listening to this, you should probably check and see what the odds are because this is going to come back down, I think, to 2 or 1.5. Um, I like Cleveland, but I'm not a huge fan of this number considering it's moved so much. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
Um, so the reason I think we can't play Cleveland is too much unknown offensive line heading into this game at the tackle position and Deshaun Watson, like who knows? Matt, I have the Browns winning the division at +600. Like I think the Browns are a good team, but I don't know what I get from Deshaun Watson this first start, especially if left tackle's a concern and you have, Parsons and Lawrence rushing you. You know what I mean? Like that to me is the problem here with taking the Browns. On the flip side, Tyler Guy, left tackle for the Cowboys, rookie against Myles Garrett, rookie center, starting on the road for the first time. Like to me, it's an under game. I did tease the Cowboys. I went from 2.5 up to 8.5 with the Colts. So I have a Colts Cowboys teaser, Colts +9, Cowboys +8.5. This is going to be a one touchdown game either direction, in my opinion. I would say I think I texted you early in the offseason. I took Browns +1. Like that would have been my first wager I made of the offseason. But at 2.5, everyone's on the Browns this weekend too. Like dude, I think like 95% of the money is on the Browns or something this weekend. Like it's an insane amount of money.
Yeah, there's something stinky about this one, and everyone's so down on Dallas. It's similar to how people are feeling about the Giants, where it's like, hold on,
Yeah.
guys, like it's still Dallas. Uh, yeah, I don't think we got the good side, and I'm not into Dak as a dog
No.
on the road out of the division. Those are places where you don't want to bet him. So pass. I think Cleveland has a really strange feeling to me. Like they just I don't exactly know what they're going to be this year.
I don't think
We'll
they
see.
know what they're going to be.
Yeah, well, Dallas too. Okay, this game, you're going to have to just make the decision because you know where I'm going to stand on this. The Comandantes of Washington are 3.5 point dogs in Tampa. Uh, all the money's on the Commanders. I kind of like it, but I think the people need to hear you're sober, non-influenced by over leveraged on Jane Daniels ROTY tickets. What your take is?
Yeah, you can't bet Commanders here. We just talked about number one picks having, first round picks, rookies making their first start. They suck. They don't cover the spread ever.
Yeah.
Um, Tampa Bay they won the division last year. They're not a schmucky team. Like they're a good team. Um, I think it's Tampa or pass. I don't think we play Tampa, Matt, because we have other ones I like better. But to me, the Commanders are just not a play right now. How do you feel about the Commanders? Go for a minute on the Commanders season
Just generally or this week?
generally.
I'm excited for them. And
Okay.
I actually think this is not a bad spot for them because I think their offense is going to have a lot of weird wrinkles that the league is going to catch on to, like every other Kingsbury's, run through the NFL. Um, I think I think they're going to be fun. I think they're going to be a team that if Dallas and Philly were to take a bit of a slide, could make some noise. It's like a 8 or 9 win team.
Yeah.
Like them over. I think they have a massive coaching upgrade across the board. I think they upgraded at every single position they could have. So I think they're going to be a fun team this year. Does that mean I think they're going to the playoffs or anything like that? Not sure, but I do think Jaden Daniels is going to be the best rookie this year. I think his few
Ooh.
years of experience, what he brings to the table in terms of just like accuracy and mobility, like he seems special from what I've seen so far.
So like a um rookie of the year. You have tickets for them?
I have a lot of tickets for him. I asked our producer Daniel to get another one for me. He's going to Vegas this weekend. I think that he'll get more credit than Caleb will because Caleb has 3 guys who could be Pro Bowl
Yeah.
receivers, and this team that everyone thinks is really good, and everyone just thinks Washington stinks. And the fact that they won the many games that they did last year, which was 4 with the coaching staff that they had, is actually kind of remarkable. But regardless, this is probably a pass. I would lean. I think betting the over on this one could be pretty interesting. I think this could turn into a track meet with 2
I
pretty
agree with you on the over there.
pretty
Certainly, yeah.
unimpressive defenses. Speaking of unimpressive defenses, the Rams and the Lions, a playoff rematch. What a fun game this is going to be. This I cannot believe this. I'm going to double check that I'm right
No,
here.
no, it just
Four and
it
a
popped.
half?
It just popped up to 4.5. Yeah, it was
This
three and
is
a half.
shocking to me.
It was
I,
three and
I
a
don't
half this
understand
morning.
this. Yeah. So a lot of sharp money must have come in on Detroit today.
Well, you look at the Rams, right, and you look at they just shuffled their offensive line again. Lost Aaron Donald. I think the Lions are winning the NFC, Matt. I think they're really
I
good.
do too.
Um, so I think it's just a tough spot for the Rams on the road with an again new offensive line, shuffle around, new guys on defense, like who emerges leaders on that side of the ball. Um, geez, at 4 though. Geez, 4.5. Oof.
4.5. I think if you're taking a side on this, you have to take the Rams. The spread
Oh
in
yeah, at
this
4.5 you do,
in the
yes.
postseason when they played, I think was 3.5, and it was a 1 point game in Detroit. Granted, there was a lot more nerves there. Jared Goff is undefeated against the spread in week 1, which is kind of interesting. But McVay, obviously is responsible for some of that. He's
Yeah.
incredible with extra rest. So I just think I'm back at where I was last year on the Rams. It's Stafford and McVay. It's a team that invested a ton in offensive line, has 2 all-pro level receivers. They'll figure it out on defense like they always seem to do. Like, I just like this team. So I would say the 4.5 is very, very interesting. I'm not sure I like it more than what else we have on the board, but I wouldn't
No,
mind taking them here.
no, I think it's Rams or pass in this situation. Um,
Yeah.
but nothing that I like better than anything else. Over is interesting. 52 is high, the highest of the week, I think, right
Yeah,
now.
that's a track me inside.
But just really, the Lions play what 14 or 17 games inside, which is insane.
Yep. First game
And,
outdoors is Lambeau, week
and
13.
but it's like it's the middle of the year though. So it's not even cold Lambeau yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And like they play there every year. Like it's not a big surprise. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm gonna put that as our 7th because I have 6 other maybes.
Yeah,
Um,
we got 6.
that's the Sunday night game. The Monday night game is I can't imagine you have a side on this one. It'll be fun to watch. The Jets and the 49ers. The Niners are laying 4.5. A team that's had a lot of turmoil. I guess the side would be the Jets, but like how can you be confident in what they bring to the table with Rodgers and all this stuff that's going on there, unless you have a feeling about it.
Matt, I'm sure you can't wait to when you're working and Jack's of age to just run open the door and scream at you. My kids just came in the house and asked where the dog is, even though I told them this morning the dog is going to be with the trainer when you guys get home, and he's going to knock on the door at 3:30, and you're going to answer the door, and you're going to bring Fo inside. come upstairs, yell. I'm like, I'm working, kids. I'm working. Um, you met my kids, by the way. Now you get it.
Yeah, I have.
Um,
They're great. Very
because
polite.
they're because they're actually great. They're great children. There's no play on this game. I have.
No.
Um, this was like six, and the Niners offseason turmoils happen, right? Contract disputes and whatnot. They get almost everyone back. I think everyone back, right? Brandon Ayuk back, Trent Williams back. Christian McCaffrey's back healthy. Unfortunately, right? Pearsall. I mean, dude, not to make light of and joke about a situation like that, but getting shot in the chest and like being at the facility the next day, it's pretty badass.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Um, like holy heck. Um, but the thing about the Jets is same thing I mentioned with all these other teams. Aaron Rodgers has not played with any of this offense. He has not played a preseason game with any of this team. These are brand new tackles. He's not played with he didn't do anything in the preseason. Now, training camp is training camp. I get that. But this feels like a slow start for this Jets team, right, in this game. So to me, it's a stay away. I'm glad there's only one Monday night game this season, Matt. Normally there's two. But what a way to end the weekend. Niners, Jets. I'm just gonna watch the game. I'm not gonna have any money on this one.
Yeah, me too. If I wasn't a coward, I would probably bet the Jets. Like, I just think their defense travels really well. I do think that the lack of practice for Ayuk is going to matter. I think the lack of practice for Trent Williams is going to matter. Christian McCaffrey banged up could matter, but like, how can you actually say like, sure, Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers on the road in national television? Like, we just made the case for Kirk Cousins not being super healthy week one. Like, why would
Correct.
we think that Aaron Rodgers, who practiced less, will be healthy? So you gotta be a gambler to bet on that one, but God bless you if you do. So we're looking at the slate. I'm including the Rams as a seventh maybe because I'm looking at these teams and I'm like I don't know exactly
Okay.
where
So
where we went wrong with our list. But
no,
why don't
no,
you read
no.
them back?
We're fine. You want to read them?
Sure. We've got Pittsburgh. I just have the teams we like. Pittsburgh plus 3.5 at Atlanta. We're gonna just write a check mark next to that one.
Yeah, that's in.
I'll write a check mark next to Carolina plus
Yep.
4 at New Orleans.
I have those two in already.
I think we're gonna say check mark to Indy plus
Yep.
3.
Those are the
Okay.
three that I have already in Sharpie. We're doing those three.
Okay, great. So we have 2 spots for 4 games. Jacksonville plus 3.5 at Miami. The Giants plus 1.5 at home against Sam Darnold's Vikings. Tennessee plus 3.5 on the road at Chicago. And then the Rams plus 4.5 against Detroit. This feels pretty easy to me.
Can we add Tennessee?
You want to add Tennessee?
Yeah, you don't want to?
I mean, we missed the number, you know?
Dude, I'm gonna have problems with the Giants in this. I know you want to play the Giants. You do, right? Okay.
Of course.
Here's the thing. I also did this last year too. And this actually was a good thing. I said, if you love something, we're gonna do it. And it worked. So you love the Giants. I could tell. You're turning beet red.
I
like
love the Giants.
Okay.
Fuck me. I love the Giants.
Okay. So Giants plus 1.5. Okay. So Jacksonville,
right,
Tennessee, Rams. I think, look, the Rams thing worries. I would say no to the Rams.
Pass on the Rams. You weren't in on it.
No. And then I think Tennessee's the right side at 3.5.
Tennessee, it is. I mean,
Okay.
well, okay. So Jacksonville, they're the one we left on the table. We did both like that one. Let's compare them. You obviously do not like the Giants, so you would say Jacksonville over the Giants.
Yeah, but I put the Giants in already.
We can undo that unless you've already submitted it to,
No.
to whatever sportsbook doesn't sponsor us that we're submitting this to. It's Jacksonville over Tennessee or the Giants. Oh my God. I don't know, man.
You love the Giants though. We're gonna play the Giants. So I think we just
play the Giants. It's my conviction.
Yeah, we're doing Pittsburgh, Carolina, Indy, New York, and Tennessee.
Okay. I like it. So we have 5 dogs and 5 teams that will miss the playoffs and that all suck and that are not fun to watch. I don't think there will be one team I enjoy watching of those 5.
No,
do you?
But those are the times when you win.
Yeah, man. You don't make money betting on Jets Niners. You don't or
Rams,
Chiefs
except last night.
Yeah, except all the time.
All right, Matt. I know you have to go to a meeting. I have to go hang out with my kids. I do like doing that, by the way. So I'm gonna look for. I'm going to high school football game tonight. I'm taking to the local high school football game. I'll watch the Brazil game on my phone, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, I don't like this Friday thing. I don't know.
Very quickly, college football. If you want to, I like Rutgers to cover, Washington, Nebraska, Michigan, and San Jose State. So Um, that's what I'm on, Matt. Are you in the Terrapins this weekend?
I have not studied for that, but I will
Okay.
just blindly say yes. They won by like
Okay.
50 points last week, so why
I'm
not?
looking forward to the Oregon Maryland game next year. I think it's next year.
Should we go?
I wonder where it's at. Well, I'm already committed to go to Rutgers next year. Oregon plays at Rutgers, and my best friend here in Charlotte went to Rutgers. So maybe
Well, your best friend in LA went to Maryland, so I can't imagine you have any other friends out here who matter more
uh
than me, who you've
we do
met six
not
times.
play Maryland next season. So that would be, oh no, we play Maryland this season at Autzen, November 9th.
November 9th. Well,
You
cool.
should go. You should
I'll
fly
just
up.
wait for my invitation whenever
You
you
should fly
decide
up
to
to that.
invite
You
me
should fly up to that game.
to watch us lose by
Hey,
700.
it's a sandwich game though. We're at Michigan, Maryland, at Wisconsin.
Ooh, a trap game, perhaps.
Trap game. The Terrapins coming to town. God, I hope you wear your ugliest Under Armour uniforms.
Yeah, the dude in Oregon has no ugly
They're
uniforms.
so
Of course
they
not.
don't. We look brilliant. All right,
Yeah,
everyone.
never
Enough
any ugly
rambling.
uniforms.
Thank you guys. I always enjoy doing this with you, buddy.
It's the best.
Oh, I hope you're prepared for Sunday at about 105 when I text you.
What are we doing? How did you let me talk? How did you talk me to the Giants?
like,
Fuck you.
Like the Vikings are gonna come down and score in 4 plays. I'm gonna be like, fuck you, Matt. Sorry,
Yeah.
excuse my language.
Aaron Jones, 70-yard touchdown run, first play. We're just cooked immediately.
Jeez. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody.
Great to see you, buddy. Thanks, production staff.